What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Hastags dropping some hot frog on this mic. Today we're actually going to be talking about Sonic Superstars. I haven't really talked about it on the channel, mostly because I've been busy, but I wanted to make a Sonic Superstars video today. Then Jeff Keighley said that he was going to be essentially dropping some news about Sonic Superstars on Gamescom's opening night live. So I kind of wanted to discuss what we should expect from that, rather than making the Sonic Superstars video that I kind of plan to make after, Gamescom happens. I might even stream it, so make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have the notification bell dinged. We're trying to get to 6K. And also make sure you drop a like. Like goal for this video is 30 likes. But anyways, I feel like with Sonic Superstars, Sega has basically drip-fed us news, most notoriously through Game Informer. And while we don't have, a ton of gameplay, I think we have 9 minutes of gameplay that happened, or that was released at Summer Game Fest. And on top of that, I think we had another trailer recently that went over the powers or showed off some of the Emerald powers. But otherwise, we haven't had, a ton. But I think the game is actually being really heavily carried by the fact that it's a classic Sonic game that is obviously going to play well, look good, and actually have a lot of original zones, with a lot of the original team that worked on classic Sonic games back in the 90s working on this game. But what do I expect them to talk about when it comes to Sonic Superstars? I feel like they're going to talk about, first of all, just multiplayer components of the game. And I feel like this has been something sorely missing from a lot of, 2D platformers. I mean, even the new Super Mario Bros. Series, there isn't really online or anything for those games. And it's really just restricted to couch co-op, which I think is the same case for Sonic Superstars, but there's supposed to be some battle mode or something like that that's supposed to be online, which if that's the case, I'm down for it. But I feel like they should talk about some type of online component in the game. And then on top of that, I feel like they need to discuss some type of mission mode or extra content outside of the main story. I actually just recently picked up Sonic Origins, and one of the cool things about that game is that it has a mission mode and it actually adds a lot of replayability to these older titles. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, Sonic Origins is just great port or great series of remasters for these games. It's really not. They do a lot of good while also doing a lot of bad or questionable things with these games. But one thing I can say is that included mission mode makes the game a lot better. Also, I feel like they're going to talk a lot more about the story. First of all, Fang is, directly involved in the plot again, which I think this is the first time in well over a decade where he's been directly, associated with the plot. Not as some, B-tier villain in something like Sonic Mania. On top of that, there's a new character, Trip, and after, I think recently, Game Informer got a preview in which the journalist who actually got to play Sonic Superstars discussed how it didn't seem like Trip was necessarily, a villain. And it seemed like actions within the story actually caused Trip to become a villain. It's even said that Amy kind of is saving Trip until something else happens that leads to her becoming a villain. I think they described Trip as a her. And also, maybe they'll show something off with Trip gameplay. Many people have noticed, including myself, when they originally announced the game and they had the splash screen for the game, it looked like a character was missing in the top right. And many people are suspecting that's Trip. On top of that, they haven't really shown Trip without that mask. Maybe they're waiting for the game to come out, and maybe that's something that'll be revealed in the game. Or maybe, just maybe, we'll see it before the game comes out. Maybe there's going to be some type of media that kind of connects with the game, like we had with Sonic Forces, where we had a comic beforehand, so we knew what Infinite looked like before the game came out without his mask. And while they never showed him with his mask off in the game, or at least, from the front of himself, we knew what he looked like. And I'm just curious to see what Trip looks like. This isn't the first raccoon the series has seen, but it looks like they're following a much different design philosophy because it's the classic games. I also want to see how they handle things like, act and zone transitions in this game. It seems like we're going to have more involved cutscenes in quotation marks. So hopefully they go out of their way to really make us feel a lot more immersed and make the whole zone switching and act switching much more seamless. And we know that each character, kind of has different acts. I hope they actually explain it a bit better. In the Game Informer stuff, it sounds like every character has a different act for each zone. At least that's how it sounded based off of how they were explaining like the Amy act with Trip. But at the same time, we may never know. I just really want to see how this game is going to, I guess, pan out. And also, I hope they give us some type of like runtime for the game. While I'm fine with the game not being some 20 or even 15-hour experience, despite it being a full price AAA $60 game, I feel like we should get, at least more than like 7 or 8 hours, probably something around 9 or 10, because that's actually a relatively tall ask for a 2D game. So hopefully we actually learn what content's going to be in the game day one, how much time we can expect, to play around in the main story mode. If there's going to be a slew of extra content, hopefully there is. And how they're going to, I guess, add any online component if they do add any online components. And hopefully they just show us more gameplay in general, because the game already looks phenomenal, but I want to see how much variety there's going to be throughout this game. But I don't know, that's just me. Tell me how you feel in that comment section down below. This has been your man Hastags. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Follow your boy on the Elon Musk app at MobShadak100. And remember, Hot Faraga turns to Cold Bazaga. Check out some of my other videos. Peace and have a good one.